Hey guys, Vapor Feline here. Today I've got another story for you guys. I really enjoyed doing the last one, and I thought, well, let's do another one. So this is actually about a time I got in trouble with one of my neighbors. So the place I grew up is called Haystack Mountain. It's off in the middle of Alaska, in the middle of nowhere. And there weren't a lot of people there. There weren't a lot of people my age, more or less. Sure, there was a bunch of old people that was there hiding from, I don't know, government agencies and whatnot. But the big thing was that there was not very many kids there, right? So at this time, I was probably about 12 years old, and one of my best friends at the time, his name was Cannon, okay? See, now, Haystack was made a long time ago by the Cogans. So Haystack would go up for about 4 miles, and it would split off into Cogan Road and Haystack Road. Cogan Road, thus the Cogans, was where they stopped making the road and they started having their homestead. Pretty much what that means is that the government gave the Cogans a whole bunch of land to go out there and to cultivate and make use of so that a community could start out there. So there's Cogan Homestead that pretty much covered about, I believe they had 150 acres. I might be wrong on that, but it was right around that area. Well, anyways, the Cogans, they had a pretty good family there. There was, I don't know, there was grandpa, grandma, and then they had 3 kids, and each of those kids had 2 or 3 kids. And one of the kids, named Cannon, was my age, and we always hung out, because Cogan Road wasn't really that far away. We would just ride 4-wheelers to each other's houses, and we hung out a lot because of the fact that there weren't very many people our age. Well, once a month, Haystack would do this thing they called the potlucks. So everybody would get together, they'd bring food, and then we'd go down to the river and have this big thing, eating, everybody's kind of talking, a little community thing. They'd have like a little meeting, and everybody would talk about, like the road and any other problems that had come up, anything for sale, that kind of thing. Well, normally at these potlucks, all the kids would go together and hang out down by the river, skip rocks, do all that kind of thing. During one of these potlucks, while me and Cannon were down at the river skipping rocks with a bunch of the other kids, one of the older kids came over, and they gave Cannon a letter. And it was in a pink envelope, and it said Kaylee on it. That was his sister. And his sister was probably, I believe, 16 at the time, and the guy, Tim, that's the guy who gave us the letter, was also 16, and he was trying to be super secretive. He's like, hey, can you give this to your sister? Please don't tell anybody. If you open it, I swear to God, I'll kill you. So, being the fact that normally after these potlucks, Cannon would come and spend the night at my house, and we'd hang out and that kind of thing. Well, because of this, instead of going and giving it straight to his sister, he takes it to my house. And it's about 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're sitting there, and the letter's just sitting there in between us, and we're looking at each other. Like, do we open it? Do we not? Tim's a pretty big guy. Well, this is what we decide. We decide we've got way more envelopes like this. We could easily just open it up, read whatever it was inside, and then just seal it back up. So we decided to do that. We open up the letter. We don't look at it yet. We try to be kind of careful, make sure anything's in there. Well, when we open it up, there's like a little bit of glitter, which we thought was a little weird, and then a letter, a handwritten letter. So we open it up and we start reading it, and it's actually a love letter from Tim to Kaylee, okay? Now at this point, we're like freaking out. We think we hit this gold mine of like blackmail almost, like, ooh, next time she's taking care of us or whatever. Because she'd always, like if I ever hung out at Cannon's and his parents were gone, she'd be there and she'd kind of watch us and whatnot. You gotta remember we were like 12, 11 at this time. We thought we could just use this. We'd be like, oh, Kaylee, but what about that letter? Can't we have an extra slice of pie? Well, we're thinking about this, and then on the back of the envelope, we realized something. The fact that it was written Kaylee on it. An extremely nice cursive. And both me and Cannon look at each other and I go, do you know cursive? And he looks back and goes, oh shit. So we knew we were screwed. So we go and we get a red envelope. We put it in there. And we've got about 5 red envelopes. Right on the first one, Kaylee. Try to make it look nice. It looks like crap. Second one, Kaylee. Looks like crap. Third one, Kaylee. Looks like crap. Fourth one, Kaylee. Looks like crap. The 5th one, we try again, super careful, and it looks okay, and we kind of have to go with it, because when we got mad at the other ones, we tore them up. So we've got this last one, and it says Kaylee on it in a really bad handwriting, I mean, compared to the rest of the letter, which was written, like, perfect to the dot. So what we decided to do is, now that we've got it written on there, we take a picture of the letter, and then we seal it right away, just get it out of the way, don't have to deal with it anymore, and then we read it off the picture, right? Now this is where things go bad. We're reading the letter, and in the letter it says all the regular love note things like, oh, we've been friends for so long, and I really like your eyes, and blah, 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 gushy mushy stuff. And then right near the end it says, he makes a little comment, right? And he says, I wasn't sure if it was right to put this in a pink envelope, but I did anyways. Sincerely yours, Tim, blah, blah, blah. Then we look at the color of the envelope that we've put it in. It's red. He clearly states pink. We don't have any pink envelopes. I don't normally have pink envelopes. I was lucky I had red envelopes. This was right after Valentine's Day, and at my school we always had to give out one to everybody, so I had a bunch of extra red envelopes. But I didn't have a single pink envelope. So we risk it. We were like, okay, she won't think about it. It won't be a problem. So we decided to go on with it and give her the letter at the end of the night. Well, actually, in the morning. We went there in the morning. I dropped off Cannon on the four-wheeler, and he walks in, and I think it's all fine and everything. The next day, I go out into the living room, and my mom's sitting there, looking at me, with Kaylee's mother and father and Cannon next to her. And I was like, oh crap, this can't be good. So the father comes over to me and makes this big deal about how, if same thing happened to me, I wouldn't like it. The regular kind of thing, the don't do what you wouldn't do to someone else kind of thing, what you don't want done to yourself anyways. And I didn't think it was honestly that big of a deal. Later did I find out that Cannon takes it home, gives it to his sister, then bursts out in tears and started telling her everything. Well, what ended up happening was me and Cannon weren't allowed to hang out for a while, and they were pretty angry at me for a while. And I was pretty good standing with this family because I had known them forever. I'd known the mother and father for a long time. I'd known Cannon and Kaylee for a long time. We hung out. We were best of buds. But I didn't really hang out with them for the next probably 6 months or so, just because of the fact that it was kind of weirdly tension, and I didn't know at the time that Cannon had kind of freaked out and told them. But nonetheless, I don't see them for about 6 months. But the person that I do see is our good old friend Tim. Now, Kaylee's plan was to never tell Tim that we had read it. She was planning on just kind of taking it as it was, and she felt that he didn't need to know because it wouldn't really change anything. Well, that was the original plan anyways. She walks up to Tim, I guess, with the letter in hand, with the fake envelope that she thinks is the original, and he notices right off the bat that's not his handwriting, and it's a different envelope. So then this means that Tim finds out. And Tim was unhappy, but he was not going to make a big deal out of it because he was really a pretty nice guy. His whole family was. But the problem was he was mad at us. And the thing is, his family, which was him, 9 other children, and then 2 adults, were all mad at me. And the fact of the matter is, that's 12 people right there. His sex population was like 50, okay? So that's like a fifth of the entire population of my neighborhood was angry at me. This made it a little bit difficult if I was walking up the road and, from the school bus, and normally someone would, pretty much anybody would stop and give me a ride. Well, now 1/5 of the people would not give me a ride. Instead, I had to walk up. This also meant that when I went to potlucks, 1/5 of the people there were not happy with me. Actually, more like 2/5, because you also had to have it in the Kogans, which was another 1/5. But nonetheless, it never really turned out that bad until he gave me a second letter. Now, don't ask me why he gave me a second letter. I don't know why he thought it would go any better. But this time, he gave it to us in a pink envelope without any name on the front. And he just said, you know who to give it to. Now, looking at this, we're like, we can open this thing no problem. This isn't even going to be a problem at all. And me and Cannon had just been able to hang out again. Like, his parents had just stopped being mad at him and finally kind of cooled off between everything. So they give us a second letter. And it was at another potluck, so Cannon came over to my house as normal. And we're sitting up in our loft. Well, the way my house was set up is underneath where my loft was, which was my room, was my brother's room. So I'm sitting up there in the loft with Cannon, and we open it, and the only thing it says inside of it is, I thought you said you wouldn't open this one. So now we're stuck with this letter, and it says that, and we don't know what to do with it. Because I'm sure that if Cannon brought it back to her, knowing that this one actually said something like, I thought you said you weren't going to open it, well, I was pretty sure he was going to bawl again and freak out. So what we decided to do is we just keep the letter and don't give it to Kaylee. Granted, it didn't even say Kaylee's name on it, so really we kind of made it seem logical in our own heads that that was okay. Just don't give it to Kaylee. It doesn't say who it's for. He just gave us a letter. It's not even a big deal. We'll just tape it back shut and put it somewhere where no one will ever find it. Well, in the loft, that was my room. Right underneath it were kind of these rafter things that we had things that had fallen down there. Like, they were full of Pokemon cards and bouncy balls and things like that. It was just so far in there you couldn't get it out. So we're like, we'll just throw the letter down there. We won't think twice about it. If Tim asks, we'll say we gave it to Kaylee. and we'll just kind of see what happens. We'll just kind of act like we don't know anything. Well, apparently Kaylee was in on this too, actually. So when I take Cannon home, we pull it, and she's standing right there in the driveway, and goes, "Tim said you got me something." And we're like, So you know what Cannon does? He goes over, and there's a dirt road. He picks up a rock and says, "He wanted us to give you this." And that was it. And the weirdest thing is, we never heard anything about it. She was just kind of confused, and she was like, okay, whatever. Nothing. We didn't get in trouble. Tim never said anything about it. I'm pretty sure what happened was Tim walked up to Kaylee and said, "Did you get it?" And she probably said, "Yeah." It was a bit weird, but yeah, I got it. As it would be if you just got a letter that said, "I thought you weren't going to open this." So nothing actually came of it. We were okay. Nobody got in trouble. Although, spoiler alert, Kaylee never got with Tim, and she actually just recently got married last year. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really like making these kinds. The last one I did got next to no views or anything, but I enjoyed it a lot more, so I'll probably just keep making these, honestly. They were a lot more entertaining until some new game comes out that I'm really kind of interested in. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good day, and adios.